The cross of Jesus Christ is the epicenter of God's glory. It is the beauty of God's glory on display to the world. What do you mean by this? Listen to this. 2 Corinthians 4 says, but if our gospel, the good news of Jesus, is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. Who are those who are perishing? Those who are unbelievers, right? Who are glory thieves, who are living apart from Jesus. In their case, the God of this age, who is that? That's talking this lowercase g. It's talking about Satan, Lucifer. The God of this age has blinded the minds of who? The unbelievers, to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of what? The glory of Christ, who is the image of God. So our world is broken. Our world is deceived. Our people are born deceived and spiritually dead and spiritually blind to the glory of God, which is found in Christ Jesus. And then what does Paul say? For we are not proclaiming ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake. This is why, side note, as a church, we are all about Jesus. We proclaim Jesus. We talk a lot about Jesus, because it is all about him, right? And so we proclaim Jesus. And so for God, who said what? Let light shine out of darkness, has shown in our hearts to give what? The light of the knowledge of God's glory in the face of Jesus Christ. The gospel is the pinnacle of God's glory. Jesus, the life, death, the resurrection of who he is God's glory on display to this world. And that message, when it is proclaimed, guess what, man? God begins to move and work in people's lives. And I believe even now that blinders are going off. You might be in here today and maybe you walked into this room. You thought you were just going to come to church and pay your dues, but you realize you are so far from God. And right now, the Spirit of God is working in your life. And the blinders are falling off, and all you have to do today is respond to Jesus. Because the gospel is the pinnacle of God's glory. And so if the gospel is the pinnacle of God's glory, that means this. The gospel restores then our purpose for living for God's glory and enjoying him forever.